Hey everybody, Pastor Scott from Oak Ridge. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Life Minutes. Let me read you a verse out of 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 23. Paul, in writing to his young protege, Timothy, says, "Have nothing to do with foolish, ignorant controversies. You know that they breed quarrels. To friend or unfriend? That is the question. In this video and a subsequent one, we're going to talk about Facebook specifically and social media in general and work through this question, especially when it comes to unfriending someone on Facebook. And the reason we're discussing this, our Christian faith should guide us in all that we say and do, including social platforms. The reason I've decided to discuss this in these videos is because as a pastor, but more so as a Christian, I have wrestled with this hiding, blocking, or unfriending people. Like you, if you're a follower of Christ, your goal is to be a salt and light Christian. So I thought to myself, well, if that's the case and we want to be salt and light, is there ever a time to do this? Is it okay to ever unfriend someone or hide their post or whatever? Well, my answer and mine only is yes. In saying that, I again must weigh out my reasons. Why would I block somebody? Why would I hide somebody? Why would I unfriend somebody? Well, one, I have to ask myself the question, am I unfriending someone simply because they have a different viewpoint on something than I do? I'm under the impression, not only am I under the impression, I know this, that when I post something on Facebook, I know that there may be people who have different viewpoints than me on that. And if they disagree with me, and again, it depends on how they disagree, if they just want to be argumentative and cause issues and problems and such, then I would have to weigh out whether their response is helpful to others that are going to be reading that post, or are they simply trying to negatively affect others by mocking, deriding what you say? You know, they don't want to carry on a conversation, and they just want to cause controversy. So I have to ask that. Am I unfriending them just simply because they have a different viewpoint than me? I think there's more to it. The second reason I thought through to block, hide, or unfriend someone is whether they're open, this is tied to our first point, open to having a conversation. I've had people on Facebook who like to argue. And by what they say and how they say it, all they want to do is argue and cause controversy. They're not open to a two-way conversation. I thought about 2 Timothy 2:23. Paul warned Timothy in his day to not get caught up with foolish, ignorant controversies. They just cause all kinds of problems. You can tell if someone just wants to argue, not to have an open, honest, interactive conversation. They might get upset with you if you disagree with them, though they were the ones who posted it. So I think that when it comes to social media, and I'm speaking as a believer, that we need to think through the whole social media interactions. I see it as a great tool. We use Facebook at our church. I use it to do ministry, so do many others. But I also know there are times that because people are simply trying to cause issues and problems and want to make sure that their view is the view, and they're not even willing to have a conversation with people who might disagree with them, or they're being destructive or causing issues and not helping the situation, the conversation. It might be one of those times you hide somebody for 30 days, block them, whatever it is they do. And so there are different viewpoints on this. I've read blogs and other articles on specifically what a Christian or a pastor should do when it comes to Facebook and blocking and all of that. So I'm not here to tell you what to do. I just think we need to use wisdom. And as a believer, don't post crass and crude things. There's no place for that in the kingdom of God. It doesn't do anybody any good. So let's just be careful. Use social media as a tool, but use wisdom. This is Pastor Scott. Thanks for joining in.